Welcome to the Real News Network. I'm Jessica Devereaux in Baltimore. So most of you know the U.S. healthcare system is the most expensive in the world and covers far fewer people than healthcare systems in other rich nations. But the number that is so staggering is that more than 60% of all bankruptcies are due to medical bills. That's the subject of our special in-studio guest one-man play, Mercy Killers. Now joining me in studio is Michael Milligan. He is a performer who has been writing and acting for theater for almost 2 decades. He has appeared on the Broadway stage for several plays, and his one-man play, Mercy Killers, was inspired by his personal experiences in the healthcare system. Thanks for joining us, Michael.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
So as I was saying, this play was really inspired by your own personal experiences. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. I was, after graduating from Juilliard, I was traveling around pursuing a career in the regional theater, and I was in a relationship with someone who had a lot of medical needs, and over the course of time, I experienced, what it's like to be with someone who has needs like that, and what the experience was like that I'd never seen anyone talk about, or in the news, or in the movies, or on an episode of Grey's Anatomy, are the feelings that of ambivalence and the darker feelings that people experience when a loved one is in a medical situation.
And that medical situation, often you have to go up against the healthcare insurance industry. Is that part of it too?
Well, yeah, I mean, and also she's an artist, so she was on and off of insurance and trying to maintain a career in the arts, and then, stuff like that. So
yeah.
So that eventually led me to question whether that was a good system or not. And then I also had a friend from school who was homeless for a while, and he showed up at the stage door of a theater I was performing at, and he had some medical problems, and I was trying to get him some medical attention, and that was very, very eye-opening how difficult that could be. And what I learned from that experience was my initial response to him showing up at the stage door was, oh my God, I want to help my friend, right? That's the natural response. But then shortly after that was a feeling of, oh no, he's going to drag me down with him. If I actually, if I extend myself to this person, he's going to drag me down, because, like the old saying goes, you can't rescue a drowning man, when you're just swimming yourself.
So let's talk about the play. The main character, or the only character, it's a one-man play, is sort of this average Joe type of guy, right?
Yeah, his name's Joe. He's from Southern Ohio. He's an auto mechanic. He's got his own shop. He's kind of a libertarian bent, and he has real deeply held values of self-reliance, personal responsibility, those kind of things. And his wife gets sick. And so they get into a number of difficult situations. She loses her insurance, and then they go into the whole downward spiral of what you were talking about, of how medical bankruptcy happens. And so he's struggling also with his worldview, trying to understand how he could possibly be in the situation that he's in, given that he has done everything right.
Yeah, and you often have the audience participate in discussions after the show, right? To discuss some of these issues.
I do, yeah.
What has really come up? What's been the feedback?
Oh, it's incredible. I performed this, I suppose you could say, off the grid in terms of this sort of normal theater crowd. I'm often hosted by local volunteer organizations, and we get in a really interesting crowd of people. I would say that I've had 3 types of very interesting responses. One is from people who work in the medical field, doctors and nurses. After the show, when we're doing our talkbacks, a doctor will share what it's like for them, or a nurse will share some specific incident of what it's like for them to work in a system where decisions aren't necessarily made based on the best treatment, but on financial reasons. And it can be heartbreaking to hear some of those stories. One doctor who worked in the ER was talking about a guy who got hit by a car, and his leg bone was sticking out of the skin, and they were getting him ready for surgery, and the guy was pushing people away, you know, saying, please, please don't do anything, because he just started a new job and his insurance wasn't going to kick in for 3 months.
Oh, wow.
And so my friend, the ER doctor, was like, what? Look, we're trying to help you. And he explained that situation, and he said, I can't afford, please do as little as you need, because I can't afford this. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
That's
Powerful.
so to hear that kind of story from someone who works in medicine from the inside, again, it's not something that you see on Chicago Hope or Grey's Anatomy or, you know, one of our hospital shows.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's a reality.
Great.
And so that's very compelling. The other two groups are, I often have conservative people come to the show, and in the talkbacks we have interesting discussions, and some of the things that come out of those discussions aren't, you know, what I would think would be their ideas. It's not something that you would hear on Fox News or something.
Give me an example, yeah.
Well, like there was a CEO of a small company in Ohio who said, oh, you know, well, their first response was, government cannot do anything, right? You know,
yeah.
so
I was going to ask you that. What do you say to those people? Who
well, I said, well, what do you think?
Yeah.
What's your solution?
Yeah.
And her solution was, well, I think first off that all insurance companies and hospitals should be not-for-profit, and the administrative salary should be capped at, let's say, $200,000. And I was like, wow, that, you know, that's not my solution. I am a single-payer Medicare for all person.
Okay.
But her solution sounded more progressive than the Affordable Care Act in some ways.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so I think that that we haven't really, as a society, had the dialogue that we need to solve the problem, because we are divided into these ideological camps, and we resort to our talking points, and that immediately raises the defenses and resistances of the people we're talking to. And so we never actually communicate to each other from the space of, you know, human empathy, to have a real dialogue about, what do you think? What do you personally think? And I find that their personal beliefs are much different and don't fit into a carefully circumscribed kind of political ideology.
Absolutely.
And so my hope with the play is, because the play really is just a depiction of, you know, how something can happen to a couple, and is an appeal to the heart of just, let's take a look at the things that happen. You know, the play itself doesn't offer any kind of prescription for what we need to do. It's just an appeal to people to, you know, open their hearts. Because I think we need to, you know, the heart needs to be broken, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like a seed. You got to crack the seed so that the flower can come out.
So you're going to perform a little bit of that play for us here at the Real News.
Yes.
And set the scene for us a little bit.
Okay, this is the interrogation room of a police station in southeastern Ohio. And Joe has been hauled in there. His wife has been sick. I said that, so right away there's some suspicion that his wife has died, and that he's been dragged in there for some reason involved in her death.
Okay. All right,
So,
great. Let's get
okay.
to it. Michael
All right.
Milligan.
Hey, man, officer, look, man, I'm sorry, all right? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. I'm just a little upset, man. I don't want to blame anybody, okay, man? I don't want to blame anybody but myself. Because it was me, man. I'm responsible. It was me. Because look, man, after that staph infection, man, we bankrupt. You know, we're in a ditch, and that's hard. That's hard for a man. So yeah, man, you get some dark thoughts then. Yeah, you get thoughts about letter bombs. Yeah, man. Envelopes full of white powder. Sure, but nah. Even worse than any of that, man, is like there's all this stuff out there, you know, man. None of it's your fault. It's not her fault. It's not anybody's fault. But you can't help it, man. You start to make it about the other person. Yeah, it is her fault. It's her fault that I'm freaking greased up 7 days a week, man, going 12 hours a day instead of going to the lake with my buddies. Yeah, it's her fault. It's her fault, man. We ain't having sex, man. We ain't never going to have any kids. And on top of that, man, you got the guilt. You got the guilt for thinking any of that, and then it's just back and forth between them, you know, that guilt and that resentment, and then you can't talk about it, man. Not with her. I mean, what? That's all she needs to hear. You know, you can make her feel bad for being sick. You put her right over the edge. So that's your job, man. That's your job. You got to stand up. You got to tough it out. You got to cover it up. You got to hide it, how you feel, man. But that's your wife. She knows what you're thinking. Sometimes you just want to be alone. So I think that's why, man. I think that's why that she No. It's not about you, man. It's not about you. It's about the forces out there, man. They're so far out of your control that you can't even see them, but it's them. They're the ones that are killing your love, man. It's not Jane's fault at the bank. They come, they put the bed, they put the couch out on the front lawn in the mud, but she's the one I live with, man. I don't live with what? With AIG. Man, it's kind of hard to get pissed off at a mortgage derivative seller, whatever the hell that is, man. But no, I bet if one of those guys was here and you really broke it down for me, what he was doing with my mortgage, man, I don't think you keep me from breaking his neck, man. Jeez, nah. I don't mean that. I don't mean that, man. I'm just a little upset, all right, officer? Don't put that down, all right, man. Hey, come on, officer. I'm just upset. All right. That's how it's going to be, huh? Just the facts, huh? Yeah. So anyway, we did, man. We did. We finally got through to someone at the bank, and they did. They decided to give us a little grace period. You know, they changed our rate to half pound of flesh. Small blessings. And then, man, you just go through the pile of bills that you can't pay, and you pick out the one with the immediate gun to your head. And that, my friend, that's the bank. See, because the hospitals, man, they all used to getting stiff because they all got to take that hypocritical oath, you know. But the bankers, man, they don't mind pulling the trigger. I mean, look what they did. Look what they did. They all got on the phone with their cronies in Washington, and they threatened to nuke the whole world, man, if we all didn't pay them back the money that they lost at the roulette table, man. And Clinton, he's the one who started it, and then Bush pays them, Obama pays them. Yeah, man, the bank gets what's coming from the government no matter what. Jesus, listen to me, my stupid freaking conspiracies, man. I don't know. No, I do know. I know that's where all my energy's gone, man. We just climbing out. You know, there's a light 10 to 15 years down the tunnel, and that's when it comes back. It's round 2. So it takes, $400 for the doctor at the hospital to tell us. But now we got to pay up front for the news because our credit run out at the hospital. I need to get my girl some tests, man. I need to get her some treatments. But the credit run out everywhere. I found this one old card I haven't used yet, you know? Yeah, man, it's got a $4,000 limit, right? But nah, that's just enough to pay for the news that she needs a double mastectomy yesterday. I mean, I can't possibly pay for that now, man. Everything that I earn goes to the mortgage and the medical debt payment, man. Well, I could never pay for that anyway. With what? With what? With what I earn? The hospital wants it all up front. So that's when, man. That's when the administrator at the hospital asks if we're eligible for Medicaid. That's a shock, man. To be in that boat with those people taking a handout. But that wouldn't have worked either because you know, I make too much money to qualify because, you know, we're in the middle class. And Jane and I, we don't fight, not really, but we did get into it over that because, man, she said I should just work part-time, you know, or worse, I should just lie about what I made so we could meet the income cap. It makes me sick, man, it makes me sick to my stomach, but now that wouldn't have worked either because they're looking at your back taxes and I'm the only small business owner in the country who pays them all, so yeah, man, yeah. After the fight, I'm sitting there with the application, right? I see what we got to do. It's me. I'm the reason that she can't get Medicaid because they use your shared income for the cutoff, right? So if I'm not in the picture. So that's when we file for divorce so she can meet the income cap. And then they make you wait 90 days. 90 days, man. And that's a lot of fun, fellas, let me tell you. Sitting around knowing that there's something growing inside your person and you can't do nothing about it, man, because you're just too freaking poor, man. And every day, man, could be the point of no return. Like maybe this is the tipping point where it's too late and we shouldn't be here, man, because we paid our share, man. Look, hey, look. I want you to put this down. Jane, she's not like this, man. All upset. She is so positive. She's beautiful. She's trying this diet thing that she read about online, man. Yeah, man, she's on a crusade. She is going to beat it with garlic and peppers and breathing and positive thoughts. How's that, man? Here we're living in the most advanced civilization in world history. We're trying to beat back cancer with a clove of garlic, a bottle of Tabasco sauce, man. Nah, I don't want to complain, man. I don't want to complain.